Welcome to Breaking Bounds and Kicking Crud with Young BK.
This year been too insane. Just look inside my brain. Don't give a fuck about fame.
So for this week, I'm thinking we talk about books. What about books? I think we all grew up and left books back in high school, grade school, middle school. What makes a good book? I think that depends on who's reading the book. For me, a good book just needs to have something that keeps me interested, keeps me invested the whole time that I'm reading. But not every book is made for that purpose. So what kind of books? Well, at the moment, I got 2 books by Grant Cardone. Now, if you don't know who Grant Cardone is, he's a multi-millionaire, a Wall Street investor, and an overall down-to-earth guy who made his millions from scratch, started from the bottom. We're not talking the Jeff Bezos Amazon story where your parents buy half your company to keep it afloat. We're talking ground zero to the finished product, whatever it is now. This man has multiple different business ventures, and I compare his work to the work of almost every investor on Shark Tank. Well, I got a book by him called The 10 Times Rule, The Only Difference Between Success and Failure, and accompanied with it came the Millionaire booklet, How to Get Super Rich. Now, obviously, the point of that book is just to keep me interested and invested in the idea of making money. But making money doesn't just come from reading words. I think it's stressed in this booklet multiple times. It's not a booklet that's just going to automatically generate you income overnight. If that was how it worked, I think we would all just read a book and expect for our bank accounts to inflate. But no, that's just the booklet and the 10 times rule. Grant Cardone. Definitely going to have to update you guys on some things that I've been reading throughout this book. I'm going to go ahead and write down some notes and jot down some things that I want to bring back to the podcast for talking. And then I went ahead, I kind of went all out at the library. I'm not going to lie to you. I just went ahead and, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I went ahead and checked out on 7 books by Rick Riordan, New York Times #1 bestseller and author of the Percy Jackson series, the movie, the Magnus Chase series, the Kane Chronicles, the Trials of Apollo, several. I've read almost every series that this man originally produced, as well as some of the Rick Riordan Presents series as well. I don't know if you guys have ever given him the time of day outside of Percy Jackson, but if you haven't, I would say please do. His work is a combination between your childhood favorite nonfiction, science fiction writing, mixed and paired with historical and mythological elements combined together to give you an educational, fun, down-to-earth piece of literature that you can pick up and put down whenever and still feel like the interest is there. So I've got 3 series here at the house. I've got the Kane Chronicles, I've got the Magnus Chase, and I've got the Trials of Apollo. I'll keep y'all updated on which books I'm reading at what time and how they're doing. But this episode is drawn into the Breaking Bounds category, because the bounds that I decided I wanted to break in terms of my reading would be that of my own limitation. Why am I not trying to expand my knowledge and my vocabulary simply by picking up a book, reading a few pages a day, if that's all that I can do, setting it down and note-taking so I can do better when it comes to the next book? I don't know. So that's why I utilize Champaign-Urbana's public library's downstairs bookstore And if you sign up at the library and get yourself a library card, they offer you a coupon for a free book. So I went ahead and I got me a free book. Granted, it's a book I've already read from the Magnus Chase series. But that's okay. I own that book now. I can pick that book up and I can put it down at my leisure without worrying about taking it back. That book is now mine. Now, I've contemplated making my own book series before. I've written the intro to a book, even gone over table of contents. I don't know if anybody who's listening has ever used Weebly. But I used to use that site and try and join the world of fan fictions and writings and see what I could do and what I could bring to the table whenever I was presented with that opportunity as a youthful kid with an interest, an imagination, as we all had. But I can't count on just the idea to hold it over. There's execution that comes with it too. And I haven't necessarily executed everything that I could have in a manner that I feel like has been positive and beneficial to me and the people in my surroundings. So what I have to do now is reevaluate how I'm looking at these topics and how I'm looking at these books and how I'm looking at these ideas and give them some foundation to stand upon so that way I can continue to build. The bounds I'm breaking are those of building. I don't know how many people feel like they can't advance. I don't know how many people feel like they can't carry on. How many people feel like they're about to be left behind. You're only left behind as far as your thoughts allow you to be. And I truly believe that. But let me say that my time on this podcast is going to be devoted to helping those who don't understand how to get better in their situation, get better. Self-help, improvement. How are you going to invest what you got in your life right now back into your life so that way you can continue to feel like you are a better individual as every day goes on? How can you do that? Well, the way that I've determined and the way that I've decided that I'm going to do so is this podcast. Breaking bounds and kicking crud. Breaking bounds, moving forward, moving past, doing things I haven't done before, barriers knocked completely to rubble. Kicking crud. Anything that needs to be removed from my life in any facet, from smoking to vaping to catching an Uber all the time. Crud. It's crap. It's trash. It's waste. Gonna try and cover some of the frugal aspects of adulthood. Show you where you can save a pretty penny in an area so you don't have to worry about always being behind because you're trying to be so ahead. I think one of the final touching points that I want to introduce for this second short episode is the idea of self-reliance. If you rely on everybody except yourself to get something done, will it ever be finished? You could hire a crew to construct a building and they still might not hit the deadline. Why aren't you trying to build and materialize everything it is you talk about as a solo individual, as a solo venture, a sole proprietorship, if you will? The individual speaks louder than the group. If you've ever attended a seminar or a webinar, one individual is talking to everybody paying attention. It's not hard to use the skills, the knowledge, and other things you may have gained along your life to draw in a crowd. The crowd that you draw in depends on the things that you are trying to appeal to your audience for. Who is your overall avatar? Avatars is a topic I feel like I can cover with an individual who has gone down that route. I have high hopes I should be able to get one of my favorite YouTube and Billboard charting producers on the podcast here soon. But for the time being, I have to say, don't limit your mind to the literature that you are used to. Go outside of your comfort zone and try and gain some knowledge from things that might seem more entertaining than others. If you guys have any comments, any questions, please leave them on the WhatsApp business or WhatsApp page. Please send them to the Facebook page. Leave them on the Spotify link. Let me know what you think. Without your input and without your advice, this podcast will only stay as stagnant as I allow it. But with ideas from the community, I feel like this podcast could do a lot of good. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to check out. It's been Young BK. We're breaking bounds and kicking crud. I'll see you on the next episode.